Hey guys, today I want to make a video to explain scientifically how the law of attraction correlates to the double slit experiment right here, and also a few more tips about how to manifest with the law of attraction. But first off, many people in this world, if you ask at least the successful ones, they will all say the same thing. I've heard Drew Carey say this. I heard Jim Carrey say this. I've heard CEOs of Fortune 500 companies say this too, that when they were asked about how they became successful, they attributed it to being able to see the vision that they wanted to have happen in their mind's eye. So this is gonna show you exactly why that works. But first, we're gonna go through the double slit experiment. This is a very important experiment to know, to understand fully for spirituality. So first, let's go over the basics of this. This was a contraption figured out or set up by scientists who wanted to find out whether the electron had the characteristics of a particle or a wave. So what they did was they made a contraption where they had one cardboard piece right here where there was two slits cut out there. They had a screen behind it that recorded where the electrons would hit, and as simple as that. So this would be a gun right here, and it'd be shooting. And well, they first started off with many electrons, and they shot many electrons through this contraption right here, but it ended up to make this design behind it. Something similar to this design, I should say. And this is an interference design. In other words, the electrons would have passed through these two holes. They would have spread out like two waves passing through these holes, and then they would have interfered with themselves and literally made all these markings behind it and recorded this behind it. So later on, the scientists said, okay, we're gonna shoot just one electron at a time. Well, to the scientists' astoundment, they found that one will literally go right about here, and it will split into two, decide to take both roads. Or you could say also it became a wave. It just acted like a wave. And then it would make all these lines, just one electron, make all these lines. Well, isn't that interesting? That's called superposition, by the way. The fact that an electron could be in more than one place at one time. And then, so they wanted to find out, okay, how does this happen? How does this happen where you have an electron going through here, and then it decides to go through both? So they wanted to see if they could figure out when does it happen too, and maybe they could figure out how. So they put a camera about here, and they put a measuring device to see the electron before it goes through these slits. And at that point, what they saw was amazing. And this is really the key to a lot of your spirituality and understanding how to be a creator, which you are, because you are part of God. So they found that it went through here. When they had a camera, they found that instead of making this design, when it went through and there was a camera here, well, it went back to just one line. It was just one line. It went to just one of them and just made one line behind it. That's it. Just one line behind it. So what the scientists have figured out and what they have extrapolated is that when you have an electron go through here, it's in a waveform. But when there's consciousness that's looking at it, that's observing it, just the mere fact of observation collapses that waveform and creates a particle. Thus, it acted like a particle and made only the one line. So, now you will hear many high-end scientists right now, like Sean Carroll or Lawrence Krauss and Neil deGrasse Tyson. They talk about the collapsing of the wave function. So what they're saying, and this all ties in with the multiverse, Hugh Everett's multiverse theory. And so what they're saying is that there is infinite potential around you at all times. Everywhere around you, there's infinite potential. In other words, when you are, right now you're seeing everything with a certain potential, energetic potential, and it's the largest energetic potential. But there are some things out there, like you winning the lottery, has a very small energetic potential, very small amount of energy, very small amount. So therefore, it's very unlikely, right? But it's around you all the time. And so sages kind of knew this back in the day. So what they would say is, imagine what you want to have happen as though it already happened. And what that does is literally collapse the waveform in your mind, or you could say in hyperspace, or in the ether, or in the astral realm. They're all the same thing. And we are experiencing the after effects of that lag. So anybody who's ever paid attention in their own life will say, I thought about this or I thought about that a lot. And then when I forgot about it, all of a sudden it came into my life. Like, they might have really wanted something so bad. And then after a while, they forgot about it. And that thing that they wanted so bad came into their life so easily. There's a reason for that. And we'll get into that in just a second. But this is the reason why you can manifest. Now, we know the law of attraction. The law of attraction states that you can create and manifest in your life whatever you want. But it keeps away certain aspects. And it kind of keeps you in the dark. It makes you think, oh, you just change your thoughts and your life will change. That's true. Because everything comes from thoughts. But you have a formula that you have to apply. Like I said, there is certain probabilities that have lower energetic levels to them, and certain probabilities that have much more higher energetic probability that'll happen. For instance, your life continuing as it is has a very high probability because that's what you think is going to happen. If you think something very different is going to happen in your life, and you keep thinking that, something very different is going to happen in your life because you applied that energetic, you applied the energy into that probable wave function, and you collapsed it yourself. You are the creator, therefore. God is the creator of the earth and the heavens. Yes, you are the creator of your own life, and that is God's gift to you. So let's go back to this. The 4 different things that need to be talked about, the 4 different aspects to proper manifesting. First aspect is you have to feed that whatever you want to have happen with a lot of energy if it is a low probability. You, like for instance, if you wanted of course, that lottery, you have to feed that energy like no other business, like nobody's business. I mean, seriously, you have to put a ton of energy into that, because currently there's such a little amount of energy in that probability that you would have to spend a lot of time giving it your own energy. So there's that factor, how much time and effort you put into the thought of you succeeding. How detailed are you with your visions of what you want to have happen, your manifestations? How detailed? Become as detailed as possible. The more detailed you are, the more you break down and collapse that wave function. And then you will see what you want to see. But then there's other things. You want to make sure that you stay of a high vibration. Now, this is one they don't talk about too often. They just say, hey, just think positive thoughts. You have to stay at a high vibration, because the higher your vibratory levels indicates the higher energetic levels you have within you. If you've ever seen anybody who has a low vibratory level, you will see they're always sucking energy out of other people, right? They're always sucking energy out of other people. So because they need to be energy vampires. And we all know people like this. And we all hopefully we learned to stay away from people like this. Because they will suck your energy. But the higher energy people, they give energy. They're the ones that have energy come to them from the infinite source, God. And they're able to spread it out to people in a positive manner. So how much positivity you have, how much, a good test for vibratory levels, by the way, is this. Do you constantly feel tired? You have low vibratory levels. If you're constantly filled with energy, you have extremely high vibratory levels. If you wake up in the morning and you wake up in the morning and you're just like ready to go, just let's go take a shower, let's go do the bed, very high vibratory levels. If you wake up and you go, I just want to stay in bed and blah, 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 you have work to do. Also, the people that you hang around with, they'll tell you what type of vibratory levels you're at. If you hang around with people who are constantly whining, then you do not have high vibratory levels. So that's something different, but it still correlates. It still connects with the issue. You need to change your vibratory levels. There's something different is what I meant. You need to definitely figure out why and how to do that. There's many ways, and good eating and healing your past trauma, big deals. Meditating, fasting, of course, like I just said, no eating or good eating. Fasting is the best way to get to the highest vibration. And of course, no TV or no cell phone or whatever, at least limit it severely, because it's all meant to suck your energy. Absolutely. So when you have a high vibration, you will have higher energy. When you have higher energy, you will be able to create that world that you want more readily. Now, we need to make sure that you don't negate this creation. And a lot of times doubt comes in. That will negate it. That will affect it very much so. Then it's like throwing a monkey wrench into everything, and then it becomes like that. You just can't, there's no concrete manifestation or creation that you did. It's just a wave function basically again. And it's because the world doesn't know how to read you, because you're saying yes, no, yes, no. Another way you negate things, by the way, here's a big one. You negate things by insisting that it must happen. Now, when you have a wish and you insist that it must happen, what you're saying in effect is you have lack, that you are coming from a place of lack, and it has to happen in desperation. Never worked. Ask anybody who's ever asked out a pretty girl and or whatever. You know what I mean. Desperation never worked, and it never works, not just on people, it doesn't work in the field of existence. So get rid of all negation as much as possible. Keep feeding the information that you want to see for your future. And one last thing before I go, I wanted to say that this is very powerful stuff, and this does work. This is very low on the scale of true spirituality. True spirituality is really fasting and meditating, praying on the goodwill of all men. That's real deep spirituality. And of course, being able to offset any anger that somebody gives you or hatred somebody gives you and give them back love, or at least walk away. Those two options are your only options. Walk away or give them back love. And giving them back love is considered to be far superior. But that's true spirituality. This is about 6 or 7 on the scale, but this is very important to know. And when you know how to manifest, when you become the driver of your life, which you all will, if you really put your mind to it, you have a lot of responsibility to not mess with another person's life at all, to not take away from anybody, to harm none, absolutely harm none. If you do that, if you harm somebody, if you say, I want that person's house, and they end up dying because you've been wanting their house, because you've been coveting their house, instead of saying, I want a house like that or something, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful and be well thought out, and you could have a lot. It's not like you deserve to live in squalid conditions. You are a child of the One, so you deserve to be treated like the king or queen that you are. So just be careful what you're doing, what you're wishing for, that it does not affect another. Love spells and love manifestations, that affects somebody else's, it affects their free will. If it affects their free will, that's satanic. Do not mess with somebody else's free will, okay? So just some caveats I had to give out. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and have a wonderful Christmas that's coming up, and a Happy New Year. God bless y'all.